we got a big update, life update for us. We are moving. Well, guys, we did it. We escaped 2020 together here.
Man, what a year.
Yeah, and it was actually an amazing year for us. We did some incredible things, and yeah, we're gonna go through month by month everything that we did. A lot of it's for us to remember, but it was a lot of really cool things as well if you want to follow along too. So yeah, here is January.
So to kick off the new year, I actually had my naturalization ceremony and became a American citizen.
USA.
So that was just a big milestone for us. It had been 6 years in the making. So yeah, just a massive relief and yeah, just really exciting.
So it was also a big milestone because we always said once she got her citizenship, okay, it's time for us to leave. We really wanted to have the same citizenship so that way if there was any issue for any visa issues or anything like that, or if there was ever like a global pandemic, we could always have a similar country where we could come back to.
We had no idea why we were doing it. We really just felt like it was the right way to go about it. And then, yep.
And with that said, in January was the first time that we actually even heard about the virus. My sister actually lives in China. I have 3 older sisters. One of my sisters actually lives in China. And so we heard about the virus. We really didn't think it was gonna be as big of a thing as it actually was. But yeah, and so we were aware of it pretty early on. And then in addition, we knew that Naomi got her citizenship. I also applied for my visa to New Zealand. We knew, if you guys have been following along on our other videos, we knew we weren't gonna be moving to New Zealand forever, but we knew that we wanted to be here for a good amount of time before we eventually go to Madagascar. And so yeah, we applied for my New Zealand visa in preparation for us to eventually sell our house. All right, then February came along and we were in Chicagoland area. We lived in Woodstock at the time, and there was
A lot of cold.
Yeah, and so you'll see we traveled up to Lake Geneva, and that's one of the highlights that we did in February was go to the Lake Geneva Ice Festival, and our baby Nikita was just incredible. She stole the show on the ice.
Yeah.
We call her the Ice Queen now, and yeah, she was just
Everyone
so
loved
cute.
her as usual.
Yeah. And then this was also right when Nikita started eating solids as well, and we just like loved cooking her like really expensive fancy ribeyes, and like she just loved to chew on it. It was like the cutest thing in the world.
She loves me too.
Yeah, so that was a little milestone that we had.
Is that good? Why is it all over your forehead? And your cheeks? In your hands? And your plate?
And then having made the decision that we were going to sell our house, it was kind of full steam ahead with finishing up the interior, doing all the little touch-ups and paint jobs and things like that.
And for those of you who are just starting to follow along on our journey, we had bought a fixer-upper, a big log cabin out in the middle of the woods, and it was gorgeous, but it was so dated, and so we spent a few years renovating it primarily ourselves. We did hire a handyman to do certain things like plumbing and electrical and things that, you know, we didn't really want to mess up. And yeah, so this house was a huge project.
Huge project.
We had renovated and flipped a house prior to that, but it was a much smaller deal, and we thought we could do this in a couple months, and it took about 3 years.
And then anyone who's renovated before knows that if you knock down a wall, you find 10 other projects behind the wall that you have to address before putting the wall back up.
So we'll show
anything like that. So yeah.
So we'll show a little bit of the house here, but yeah, it was, you know, it turned out just absolutely stunning. It was this amazing, modern, rustic, glamorous log cabin out in the middle of the woods on just under 10 acres surrounded by nature preserve. It was like kind of a dream home, and we absolutely loved living there, and it was very bittersweet to get ready to sell it.
Yeah. We also sold all of our farm animals, our chickens, our ducks, our geese, and that was a sad moment, but yeah, we were excited for things ahead.
It was kind of nice too, because it was like a relief not to take care of all these
work.
animals, because we had over 50 farm animals.
I don't know why we had that many.
Yeah, and just like this little hobby farm that we had. So yeah.
And then March, it was warm enough to go outside. Nick did a fantastic job finishing up the rest of the exterior of the house, putting some stack stone along the foundation, which we weren't able to do in winter just because, you know, the temperature and everything. So yeah, and then finishing up the landscaping and getting it all ready.
And one of the big exterior projects that we did is the previous owners, or one of the previous owners, they painted over our logs from our log cabin. It was like this ugly 70s brown, and so we hand stripped every single log and then refinished it, and there were so many different steps throughout that process.
Like a 10-step process.
It took forever.
Yep.
And
3 years.
I remember when we first like looked into it, we got a quote for like $30,000 for it all to be done, and we're like, Psh, we'll do it in a couple weeks. And it took about 3 years.
Yep. So 30 grand was pretty cheap.
And for all of my American friends, we know March was when lockdowns began, at least in Chicagoland. I remember the first day for lockdowns, my sister, a different sister, she was living in Chicago, and she came out and stayed with us for a few days.
Yep.
And it
just
was
to get away from the
chaos in the city.
Yeah.
There was a lot of fear in the air. No one really knew what was going on, and we lived out in the country, and so it was a lot calmer and peaceful, and it was kind of like this safe haven that we could escape with. It was really, really great. I remember that lockdown, the first couple days, we binge watched the TV show The Chosen, and if you guys haven't seen that show, it is awesome. It is so, so good. So yeah, check out that.
We never ran out of toilet paper. We also never bought toilet paper during the pandemic because we shop at Costco.
You load up.
My cupboards were full.
Yeah,
already.
we were loaded the year prior.
Yeah.
But in the end, the lockdowns honestly didn't really affect us too much. I was, and still am, a web designer, so I work from home.
I'm a nurse, so I was an essential worker. It did affect me in terms of my job. So.
And obviously when we would shop and go out for eat and stuff like that, like, yeah, there was things that it did affect us, but it's not like we lost our jobs or home, or there was a lot of people that it drastically changed their life.
And we had, had a baby. We were already living kind of by ourselves, a little bit more isolated, but also all of our trips, I feel like, were to home improvement stores, and they were considered essential, so it's not like they were closed down or anything.
We had to wear masks, but other than that,
we were pretty much, most of our time was spent redoing our house anyway.
All right, April was a very fun month for us because we finally listed our house for sale, and it was like years and years and years of work and a little bit of like nerves running throughout all those years. Like, can we get this project done? Can we make a profit on this house? We loved living there while we did, but obviously if we didn't make a profit, it would have been pretty sad to do all that work.
It was a month of cleaning for us too. I mean, between
Touch
showings
up paint,
and we're just having to clean between showings and making sure it was always spotless. And it was also when Nikita started crawling, and we didn't have anything baby-proofed, and we didn't want to start baby-proofing because we were selling. So it was kind of, I was chasing around a baby the whole month. So May, I decided that we needed to get to the mountains. I was just done with flatland and I needed to go to the mountains. So we went to Colorado. We road tripped with our dog and our baby the whole way across. How long was it? What, like a whole day?
A couple days of errands.
Yeah, a long road trip to Colorado, just for our wedding anniversary and for Mother's Day. So that was a really special trip. We spent a week in Boulder and just did hike after hike after hike, and it was awesome.
And then May was also really excited for us because when we first started our business, we were convinced anytime we would get out of cell phone service and we would just go into the mountains or go into nature somewhere, we would get back into cell phone service and we would always have business coming in. And so it was kind of a really cool way that we felt like God was providing for us and paving the steps for our business to succeed.
Kind of just like reinforcing the notion that like in our weakness he is made strong. When we retreat and go and rest, he does work for us. You know, he brings in business for us. So yeah, while we were away resting, he was hard at work.
And so that was when we first started our business. We were joking when we were going to Colorado. We're like, oh, this is probably us gonna go away and our house is probably gonna get, get sold. And like, it was the day we left. Got into cell phone service in Nebraska or something like that. Someone wanted to see our house and put in an offer. Yeah. So we accepted.
Nick's parents, wonderful parents, went back and forth to the house a bunch of times because we were for sale by owner. And so, yeah, they needed to be kind of essentially the real estate agents.
They had to unlock the houses, make sure everything was tidy and whatnot. That was also, for some reason, I remember whenever we had a showing, it was like bugs came out of nowhere. It was like the month of bugs.
Yeah, what are they called? Stink bugs.
Yes.
Yep.
It was so horrible.
Because part of the process of refinishing our logs, we actually had to caulk and seal in between all the logs, but we did that in fall. So all of the bugs had already gone inside the crevices in the walls. We sealed over them, and then springtime came, the weather got warm, and they all couldn't go anywhere but into the house. So it was just like
we would wake up, there would be 100 bugs on the inside of our wall. We'd be like, what is going on? And then we would have a showing that afternoon. Be like, oh, but it was okay. It wasn't a big deal. And so my parents had a fun job of cleaning up those bugs, and they
love to eat them too.
Our dog.
It's disgusting.
And they only lasted for it was like a week or two, so it wasn't a big deal in the end. But yeah, we were very, very excited to finally accept an offer on our house. Man, for all of you guys who have sold houses before, when it doesn't sell like the first week, it's nerve-wracking.
It is nerve-wracking.
So our house,
I was 3 days in, and I was just like, should we
lower the price? Should we just put it down like $100,000? And it was just like, no. So yeah, it was very relieving.
In the middle of, was it lockdowns?
It was in the middle of lockdowns.
Yeah, and so we were like, well, it's just because people, don't want to leave their house, or it was, kind of hard to read the market at that point.
Yeah. This beautiful family that had moved from Hawaii, they had this amazing permaculture farm in Hawaii, and they wanted to reproduce their permaculture farm on our property, which is so exciting for us because for those of you who don't know, permaculture is a New Zealand thing, so Naomi was very, very well aware of it, and did some trial and error at our place, and we were really excited for someone to go all in and do it.
I would say it's a worldwide thing. It's just that
it started in New Zealand, right?
Australia.
I don't know. It started in Australia. Sorry, Aussies. All right, June came, and you guys know June has Father's Day in America there. Believe it or not, Father's Day is a different day.
It's in September here.
Yeah, so I get 2 Father's Days, now that we're in New Zealand here. But so in June we had my first Father's Day. I'm constantly reminded, like every single time I'm with Nikita, that I just love her so much.
Just the cutest, you guys.
She is the cutest,
really
but
cute.
for for those of you who are parents, like, you know, like, you look at your kids, and I don't know if it's just me or all of you guys, but like, I just can't get enough of how much I love her and every little thing that she does, every little smile, every little smirk, every little frown, like every little pout. Like, she'll just like be tantruming on the floor, and I just love it still. I'm just like, I love you so much.
I know, sometimes I almost physically feel my heart like just growing. I know it's not like doesn't physically grow, but I just feel like that sometimes just looking at her.
And it's always a reminder to me, however much I love Nikita and I love her so much, how much more does our Heavenly Father, does God love us? And yeah, it's just always a reminder to me, like, I didn't even realize how much God actually loved us, and I'm getting a new revelation of that just about every single day being with Nikita. So Father's Day was just an amazing reminder of that for me, how much I love my daughter, but also how much God loves us.
June was one of the most fun months, but also, I mean, there was a lot happening. So we were able to just basically give away and sell all of our belongings. And it was so freeing and liberating. But not only that, just being able to partner with God's heart of gratitude and like give away things to people who like had said, oh, I was gonna buy one of these this morning and I didn't, and now here you are and you're giving it to me. Just like thing after thing after thing I feel like happened, and it was just so exciting to be a part of that. And yeah, it was just really fun.
So if you haven't put two and two together, we were able to make a good profit on our home, which was really exciting. And so like all of our furniture and stuff like that, it was kind of like, all right, well, let's sell some of the big stuff, but everything else, let's just give away. And you know, we had so many friends back home that we just love to bless, that because they blessed and poured into us for so many years. And yeah, it was amazing to just return that favor and just, yeah, see God's heart and all the generosity going on. And the few big things that we did end up selling, the buyer like backed out at the end.
A couple days early.
And so in the end, we're just like, oh, all right, well, let's just keep giving it away. And so, yeah, you know, it wasn't a stress-filled time because we were able to just get rid of everything rather than, you know, be stressed and try to sell everything.
Focusing on
nickel and dime it.
Yeah, nickel and diming everyone. It was just such a pleasure to just release everything.
So some of our friends did end up giving us some money just because they were just like, all right, we just got all this, can we give you some money? And so yeah, it was really, really nice to at least get something for that. But yeah, it was a very, very fun time decluttering our house and yeah, just getting rid of everything. So we got rid of everything down to one box that we were able to keep in my parents' storage closet. So that was really nice. And then we each had a backpack each. So Naomi had a backpack, I had a backpack, and then Nikita has a big backpack as well. And that's all the stuff that we had at the time. And we were able to get some more stuff recently, you know, with the house that we're in now. We'll talk about that as we go on. So we were in the midst of selling our house, but I was still waiting on my New Zealand visa, and the Madagascar visas were still closed. We decided to buy a van and travel around America and do van life while we were waiting for visas and make the best of it. And it was an amazing, amazing experience.
It was awesome. I've always just like, I don't know, it's always been a dream of mine to do van lifing and to just hit the road and have no agenda, no schedule, just kind of go and explore. And it was super fun.
So we bought our van.
Our duck friends in here.
So every day, this family of ducks comes.
Hi, duckies.
Hey, duckies.
Hi, guys.
They usually come up and say hi to us.
And then at the end of June was just a really bittersweet moment for me when I had to quit my job, which, yeah, I miss all you girls if you're watching. And it was just such an amazing job. It was pretty much my dream job. And yeah, it was a sad time, but also really exciting to go on to the next steps.
For those of you who are wondering, Naomi was working at the PACU ward as a registered nurse, and I don't really know what that means, but yeah, for all of you medical inclined people,
recovering
you know.
people from surgeries, and so yeah, just awesome. So one of the first days in July, we sold our house officially, and then we hit the road. We went from Illinois to Colorado, and yeah,
Yep. So there was a bunch of different places that we were able to visit that first month in July, and we were kind of thinking like, all right, let's just go to a bunch of national parks as we're traveling around America, and let's just see the most beautiful places in America. So there were so many places that we stopped outside of national parks, and different cafes and towns and cities and everything like that. But yeah, this is a couple things that we stopped at in July.
Oh, wait.
Oh yeah. Well, first things first, we started, and all right, I'll show this video real quick. This is like the first video that we made, the first update on our road trip.
We didn't make it.
So watch this real quick. Michelle asked if we're out west.
If only she knew.
If only. We left 3 days ago.
I've lost track.
We're 4 hours from Chicago. The first night, I was just so tired.
And it was raining.
And it was raining so hard. So we got...
There were a bunch of cars pulled over.
Yeah. Anyway, we pulled over. We're like, all right, we got a good start, It's a great start, actually. And then in the morning, we looked at where we were, and we were like less than 2 hours away from Chicago.
We would have been better off turning around and going.
But it took so long to get there. Yeah. So it felt like a long time.
Not only that, we had driven like 45 minutes.
Oh, yeah, and turned around.
We had to turn around because I forgot my hiking shoes and her hiking backpack carrier.
Yeah.
So we had to turn around. So that wasted an hour. Here we go.
This is the worst. Mom always does this with the raincoat. It's raining. Anyway, so then we hit the road after that, and we're like, all right, we're gonna make some headway.
Yep.
And like 2 hours later, our tire burst, and the rubber hit all of the undercarriage, and it was spewing all sorts of liquids and stuff. So we're going to the mechanic right now to see what the damage is. That happened yesterday, so we've just been hanging out at a hotel.
Not only that, in the hotel room that we started in, we got a suite so she can sleep and we can be in the next room. But it was so hot. The air conditioner wasn't enough to heat or cool both rooms. So then we ended up changing rooms and going to a smaller room that was just a single room, so the air conditioner could keep up. So if
you could pray for us, we could really appreciate it.
Yeah, it's been less than 48 hours, and it's been very eventful so far. So.
And then this morning we're like, all right, well, let's go to this.
Well, no, last night because we were in this tiny town, and then we wanted there was one good restaurant in town, so we were like, all right, this is promising. And then I looked at their Facebook page, and they're like, today, Wednesday, the 8th of July, we will be closing at 3:30 due to maintenance. And I look at the clock, and it's 3:32, and I'm like, no!
So we hadn't eaten that day.
We had Pizza Hut.
Yeah. That was the only other restaurant in town.
Yeah.
So. No, we're not out west. Thank you for asking, though. Where are you? All right, and then, our van, it was able to be repaired pretty inexpensively, which is amazing. And the mechanic was just super, super helpful and kind. And he could have charged whatever he wanted because we were in the middle of nowhere. Yeah. So he didn't, which was awesome. All right, and then from there, we stopped at the Badlands National Park. All right, Naomi.
Hi.
Where are we?
We are in Badlands
National Park. We made it, guys. We really made it. It's actually really pretty. Yeah, I mean, it's cool. It's just kind of almost like giant ant mounds.
I feel like you're in Mars.
Yeah. It just seems like big mud piles, but they're really pretty. We stopped at Mount Rushmore. We stopped at Yellowstone National Park. What are we doing?
We're hiking.
It's icy. Watch out, guys.
Look out.
Look at this cool hiker.
Nikita, what you doing? You hiking?
Never seen a cooler outfit ever.
Never
and look how
in our
beautiful
lives.
this is. The Grand Tetons National Park. Where are we, baby? Glacier National Park.
My favorite.
And it was also Nikita's first birthday.
Yay.
And we had a bunch of fun getting different gifts for her and being in a hotel room, which my mom paid for. And it was just incredible being in a hotel room at that point. Yeah, after being in the van for so long.
Her first birthday was in Bozeman, and I gotta say, you guys,
Montana.
Bozeman, Montana is
one of our favorite
awesome.
places.
Yeah, and that's where we got, it was just a cute little baby store we got all of her presents from. So yeah, it was a really cool city. We loved it.
Miss Nikita, what day is it?
Is it your birthday?
It is your 1-year birthday, and you get some presents.
So August came around, my birthday's on August 3rd, so yeah, one of the first things we did was celebrate my birthday. We were in Portland at the time, and it was really cool. We were at Texas de Brazil, and in Portland, that's actually right across the street from the courthouse, which for those of you who know, the Portland area, like at that time, especially in August, like there was riots
Active
every
rioting.
single day.
Yeah.
It was tragic to see Portland, Seattle, like a lot of those cities that we visited, and just seeing the turmoil that was going on. And yeah, we were able to walk around that little area and just do a prayer walk. And
During the daytime, there wasn't active rioting.
Yeah,
during the
when we were
daytime.
there, yeah.
Yeah, so we were able to walk around and just pray and just release God's kingdom, and yeah, it was really awesome to be there at that time. And then obviously we were safe in our hotel room at nighttime when it was all going on.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So on the way to Portland, we had stopped in at North Cascades National Park, and then the town right next to it, what's it called?
I can't remember. It is the cutest
It
little
was the
town.
cutest little fishing town.
I'll find the name. I'll put it on here. Guys,
So
visit that town.
cool.
It is a very cute town.
Yep. We also visited Olympic National Park. Mount Rainier National Park.
So Mount Rainier National Park is
Yeah.
actually my favorite. I would say, yeah, I think it's called the Skyline Hike, the Skyline Trail. That was the most gorgeous place I've ever been to in my life, I would say. And I've been kind of brewing over just because we've been to some absolutely gorgeous places, and we live in New Zealand. Like, it's absolutely, like, everywhere we go here is amazing. But yeah,
We
that's...
also went when the wildflowers were in full bloom, and it honestly looked like someone had hand planted millions and millions of like alpine meadow plants, and it was stunning to walk through that. We drove down the Oregon coast.
Absolutely
which,
gorgeous.
Yeah, it was just, yeah. People
was
had told us about it, and we were just like, yeah, okay. And then, yeah, it was just so dramatic and wild and beautiful.
What was the town that we stayed in the Oregon coast that we loved?
Cannon Beach?
Cannon Beach,
Cannon
guys. Loved Cannon Beach.
Yeah, it was awesome. We visited Crater Lake National Park, which was super peaceful and serene. It was gorgeous. Redding, we had a bunch of friends in Redding that we were able to visit.
Redding was
and-
such like a relaxation for
It
us
was.
because it was just like, okay, there's not a whole lot to do in Redding other than see our friends.
It was hot.
And
you
it was the
guys.
hottest place that we were
It
on
was
in our whole trip.
hot. It was like 120 degrees.
Yeah, I think our actual like thermometer in our
On our
van
car,
hit
yeah.
132. I don't know. If,
127. I took a screenshot of it.
okay, yeah, I don't know if it was like the actual temperature, but
Man.
it was so
Guys, yeah.
hot.
Even with our car running, to keep the AC going, we actually couldn't park because there wasn't enough airflow through the radiator to keep it cool enough in the car. So yeah, it was pretty outrageous.
Yep. But it was such a great time just seeing our friends. So we were actually there for a few days. I want to say like a week just because
Yeah.
it was so much fun.
Yeah. We went to Lassen National Park, which is right there next to Redding, and then we drove across to the coast and went to the Redwoods National Park. drove down to Sequoia National Park.
Which they are different, and they're drastically different.
Yeah.
Both are stunning, though.
They're gorgeous.
Do them both if you get the chance, because they're very different, but both amazing.
Yeah, so peaceful. You're walking through the redwoods, and it's just silent. It's just gorgeous. Yep. Then we did Kings Canyon.
That's where things started to take a downfall. We were in California at that point. Wait, Kings Canyon? Yeah, we were in California at that point. And if you guys remember, there was a whole lot of wildfires going on in Colorado and California in 2020, and we happened to be there right at that point. So Kings Canyon was tragic. Just the whole thing was ashes and smoke. So you really could not see anything. And at that point,
see like 10 feet in front of you, and that was it. So yeah.
At that point, we went to Pinnacles National Park, and it was the exact same thing. We drove there. It was so smoky. It was so ashy, and then it happened to be closed
off. Yeah.
because there was fires.
Yeah. And then we also tried to go to Big Sur, which was also, we were like getting kind of sandwiched in by fires at that point. We had been in Santa Cruz, and we were, drinking our coffee, and there was just ashes raining down.
Literally falling into our coffee, there was ashes. So at that point, we were kind of thinking, okay, maybe it's time to get out of California, which was heartbreaking to us because we really wanted to do the other California things like Yosemite that we didn't get a chance to do. There were so many things in California that were gorgeous that we decided, you know what?
We're just gonna do it another time.
So it was heartbreaking for us to leave California, but we decided, okay, let's make the drive over to Las Vegas and stay with my third sister that I'm talking about right now. And yeah, she's a Cirque du Soleil acrobat, and so yeah, we got to stay with her, and it was so much fun just staying in her pool with Nikita.
So relaxing too, yeah.
And that was like a really nice break again, just to get out of the van, just because like we had traveled for so long. At that point, it was about 2 months of van life, and yeah, it was just so nice to stay in a bed and stay like jump in her pool and go grocery shopping, and it was just amazing.
And then we did a day trip across to the Grand Canyon. Actually, it was an overnight trip across to the Grand Canyon, which I didn't think I was gonna like love it. And then, I don't know, you get to the edge of the canyon and you're like, what the heck? Like, it sounds cliche, but you guys, if you have the chance to go there, you gotta go at least once in your lifetime. It is, pictures don't do it justice. It's just amazing.
Grand Canyon was, and we didn't spend that much time in Grand Canyon, but it was easily one of the best places we went to.
And I'm not much of like I know we are kind of like lifelong tourists, I feel like, but I like prefer off the beaten path a little bit. And I am so glad we went.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
And then from there, we were like doing all these travelings, and I was thinking, you know what? I think it would be really fun to get a camera that is nice, and start vlogging. And that's when we actually started vlogging, and that's where this channel actually started from. And so we got a Canon M50. We started with the Sigma 16mm f1.4 lens, got a GorillaPod, and then I can't remember what the mic is called, but yeah, one of those little mics that can get some good audio. And I am so glad that we did that, not only just because it's fun to vlog, but like it's really cool for us to look back and see the development stages of our daughter Nikita growing up. And if this channel goes nowhere else, it's just amazing for us to look back at those times with her.
So in September, we flew from Las Vegas up to Anchorage, Alaska. So we left our van behind. Actually, we let someone use it for the week that we were gone. And we just explored Alaska, and it was gorgeous.
We went up there with my sister Stacy. My sister Lauren had lived there for a few years. Oh yeah, my sister Stacy lived there for I think a few years too. And then we stayed with one of their friends, and he kind of took us around. It was so much fun.
We did rafting, we did fishing, hiking. It was just awesome.
Yeah, it was gorgeous, and it's always so much fun being with my sisters as well. So yeah, it just made the trip amazing. So we were in Alaska for a few weeks, and it was just a really, really great time. We came back, and right when we came back, I got my New Zealand visa. So it was time for us to finally head to New Zealand. There was a few things that we wanted to do before then. One of the things was like sell our van back in Chicago, which is where we bought it because that's where the registration was. So on the way from Las Vegas back to Chicago, there was a few stops that we had to do. So obviously the Utah 5 national parks. So yeah, Zion National Park, Canyonlands National Park, Bryce Canyon, Arches, and Capitol Reef National Parks. all incredible, spectacular. I would say if I had to rank them, Capitol Reef would be easily the worst,
least.
and so that's the only ranking there is. So they're all the other four are absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
Capitol Reef's amazing too, but
The other
yeah,
thing
it's
with-
clearly not as good.
The other thing with our road trip, we did it during the pandemic, and so there were limits as to how many people could go on the hikes and how many people were allowed in national parks. So for Zion, quite a few of the hikes were closed.
Yeah.
But we had been there before, and so yeah, we had already done a lot of those hikes. But yeah, the Utah hikes, the Utah national parks were super beautiful. But I think by that stage, we were kind of done with living in the van.
And we were like, we had our visa, like, let's just get back to Chicago and let's just do this
we're
quick.
ready for the next step.
So we kind of did one
we
day
rushed
in
through
each
'em.
one.
Yeah. Which
You could spend so much more time there, but it was still amazing that we got to be there. And
Yeah.
I don't
glad we
regret
did
it.
it, yeah.
And it's not a national park, but when we were in Utah, we stopped at the Goblin Valley State Park. Go there, guys.
such a cool place.
Go there. If you guys
I kind of want to go back, honestly, because I feel like
It's a different world.
Yeah. I feel like I didn't really do it justice.
Yeah. If you
so-
guys have seen the movie Galaxy Quest, like the big rock monster scene, like that's where that was filmed, and it's amazing. And there's no like trails or anything like that. You just go there and explore.
Yep.
Like it's just this different world, and it's amazing. The negative is you have to pay a few dollars to get there, but it is so worth it. Definitely go to Goblin Valley State Park. And then from there, we drove to Chicago, sold our van pretty quickly, and then got ready and got our plane tickets and, packed and got all that stuff ready to go to New Zealand.
So in October 1st, we landed in New Zealand, my home country.
New Zealand, New Zealand.
And we started our 2-week quarantine, which you guys, I know that people have talked about like the COVID camps or like the concentration-esque camps. Guys, we
It was amazing.
loved our quarantine.
If we could extend it, we probably would. Just because for us at that point, it was such a relaxation phase where like we didn't have to think about anything. It was all
It's
paid
all covered.
for the
They
government.
deliver 3 meals a day, and it's
The hotel was
just-
incredible. It
everyone
was so nice.
so friendly.
Yeah.
And yeah,
It was just a really
it was
enjoyable,
really well run.
just relaxation
Yeah.
2 weeks that we had to do,
Yep.
in a hotel, and we were able to leave and walk around the parking lot and stuff like that. We didn't do that once, just because it was so nice. It was just like,
They
let's
gave
just
us
stay
2
here.
rooms with a door adjoining, so we were able to put Nikita down for her naps and bedtime, and we could have the whole other room. And yeah, it was just really nice.
We didn't put the TV on once either. I don't like. We're looking back on what did we do? It was just a lot of fun, and we made a quick little montage video of kind of some things that we did, and you can check that out. I think it's one of the top here. You'll see a little link. And then the first thing we did once we got out of quarantine is like, all right, we moved to this new country. We have our backpacks, and that's all we have.
Yep.
We need transportation. So day one, we bought a car.
They actually, one of the negatives about quarantine is they needed us out very early because obviously new people coming in. So I basically left all of our luggage at the front of the hotel because once you're out, you can't go back in. It's quarantine. So we just left everything at the front of the hotel, and Nick had been researching, cars to buy. And so he took an Uber, went to the car, and I sat, and had coffee with all of our luggage, and he came back and picked me up. So
It worked out though. Buying a car in New Zealand is very easy. It was like shockingly easy. I can't remember the whole process, but it's something like we go to a post office, we pay $9, they do all the paperwork, it takes 5 minutes, and then you leave.
Yeah.
And they don't change the name,
Do
like
we
the
own the
license
car?
plates. Yeah, it was very easy. So yeah, buy a new car in New Zealand. And then from there, at that point, we had known that we were eventually going to be coming down to Queenstown, which is where we live now. But we wanted to enjoy the North Island while we can. So for
There are
those
so
of you,
many parts of it that I had never been to before, never seen, and it's just so beautiful. So yeah, we wanted to.
So for those of you who don't know, New Zealand is split up into 2 major islands, the North Island and the South Island.
Multiple other islands.
Yeah. So guys,
Main
for
islands,
those of
right.
you who've been to the North Island, like the Coromandel Peninsula is gorgeous. Definitely go there. That was one of the highlights of the North Island
Plus,
for
it
me.
was during the pandemic, so there were no international travelers or tourists. So I feel like we were, only a handful of other people were at any of the spots.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And then also we have some family. Naomi's brother and our sister-in-law, they live in the North Island, so we were able to stay with them and visit them, and that was a lot of fun as well, just because we hadn't seen them for a long time. So it was really nice catching up and being with them. We hadn't seen them since their wedding,
Yeah.
so it was nice staying with them for a little bit. All right, November came very quickly, and one of the first things we did in November is we took the Picton Ferry from the North Island to the South Island, and it was a gorgeous ferry. We absolutely loved it. We made a little video. Again, you can see it on one of the tops up there.
So from there, we traveled down to visit my family who live in the Christchurch area, North Canterbury area. Just spent a few days with them and just relaxed. And then Mom and Dad actually live on the West Coast
at the time.
And so, spent some time over there.
So we saw her sister Emily and our brother-in-law Anthony, and they're in Christchurch area, and they have a farm. If you guys have seen their farm videos, they're adorable.
That's my niece and nephew.
Yeah,
and,
they're absolutely adorable.
Yep.
And then Naomi's parents were living on the West Coast in a small community called Moana. It was kind of like a vacation area. It was gorgeous. And at that time, though, they were actually in the midst of selling their house and moving back to Christchurch.
There's 13 permanent residents or something like that in Moana. The rest are just
Tourists.
vacation homes. So, very little town. They were just selling their house and then moved to Christchurch area.
So after that, we made the trip down to Queenstown, and we rented the house that we live in now. And so this is our backyard, if you guys were curious. And it's getting kind of dark, so sorry for the light coming down. But we absolutely love living in Queenstown, and one of the cool things, if you guys have been following along, across the street from us is YWAM Queenstown. It stands for Youth with a Mission. Just a bunch of missionaries that are just on fire for spreading God's word here in New Zealand, and they do a lot of training, a lot of worship nights, a lot of evangelism nights, so all sorts of things that we've been able to partner along with them. We've absolutely been blessed to be with YWAM Queenstown.
And then we actually drove back up to Christchurch again during November to have Thanksgiving with some of my family, my sister and my brother-in-law and my parents.
So they got to have their first
Thanksgiving.
We had it here in New Zealand. It was a blast. We made another video about that. At this point, we were actively vlogging, and so a lot of this stuff, if you're following along, you've already seen this all. All right, December came along, and we finally bought furniture for our house. There was a couple that we met that were moving back to America, and they were moving in December, so we bought all their furniture once they left. We went, picked it up, and then moved it into our place. So it was a win-win, and it worked out nice, and it was very nice for us to finally have furniture in our house.
We also bought a bunch of other stuff in December too. We got ourselves a kayak, and we got 2 bikes.
We figured if we're living in the adventure capital of the world, let's get active and let's do things that we enjoy doing.
And you guys, Facebook Marketplace here is alive and kicking.
Yeah. Just like America, you can buy a lot of stuff.
A lot of this stuff off of Marketplace, and it's just really good.
And then for Christmas, we went back up to Christchurch, and it was really cool actually. Naomi's family, or I guess her siblings, it was the first time their siblings and their parents got together for Christmas for the first time in 10 years or something like that, a long time. So it was a lot of fun. We were up there for a few days, and we just enjoyed being with family and playing games, and it was a blast. Well, that was our 2020, and now looking forward to 2021. There's a couple things that, we're looking forward to. This is kind of off the cuff. While we're thinking about this, and so number one for me is I just really want to live an active lifestyle. I'm overweight at this point, and
this is my one too. I was just gonna say the same thing.
So both of us are looking to be more fit, and there's something about living an active lifestyle too, where you feel better mentally. Physically, obviously, you look better and everything like that, but mentally and eating right, and so that's something that I'm really looking forward to, and we're already starting now, but gonna continue that into 2021 and hopefully forever.
Yeah, living on the road and traveling a lot, our diets were pretty bad. Just you're kind of living it up and eating out at restaurants and things like that. And so I've dealt with quite a lot of inflammation just because of that and because of diet. And so I am really looking forward to we're gonna do basically a paleo type diet.
No grains, no gluten, no processed sugars, and no dairy. All inflammation increasing foods, and so
Not for everyone, but for me, we've found that's been the diet actually for both.
We've tried a lot of different, different things to eat.
Vegetarian, all kinds of things. So we have definitely settled on paleo as the way for us. Probably a vegetable heavy paleo as opposed to a meat heavy paleo. So we're very excited about that, doing a lot more cooking and just kind of exploring that a little bit more. What else?
I'm really excited to do more and more with YWAM Queenstown.
Yeah.
You know,
Yep.
when we first met, we met in Mozambique, Africa, and we were full-time missionaries for years, and then we lived in America, and we kind of like put that all on hold. Like, we were still doing ministry, but it was different than active ministry, I would say, or active missions.
There's a lot of ministry and business for you.
Yeah.
And then
so
for me at work, and
Yep. And so I'm really excited to do more like intentional evangelism outreaches and more intentional prayer meetings and more intentional Bible studies
Yep.
and worship nights and
just having that mindset. It's amazing how much things kind of God's able to highlight you when that's at the front of your mind. So yeah, I mean, for me, even just in my daily life, I've just been kind of saying, you know, God, lead me to someone who you want me to talk to or pray for, and it's been really exciting, just having confirmation that God really is just loving being involved in our daily lives.
it's always been fun. Naomi comes home and she's like, guess what I talked to today? And I prayed for this guy and it was just so awesome.
And it's just,
so,
it's funny. It's just like, and then this happened, and this
Yeah.
happened, and this happened, and I knew, and then this happened. So yeah, it's just kind of, it's fun.
And then we don't really know how 2021 is going to end. We don't know if we're
We have
still
no
going to be
clue.
here in New Zealand or if we're finally going to be in Madagascar. You know, who knows? And so we're just kind of letting God lead us right now and going with the flow with that and trying not to have too many plans. We know kind of ultimately where we feel like God's leading us to, but we really want
hoping
Him
we-
to lead us the steps to get there.
Yeah, really hoping we get better at kayaking too.
And so, yeah, that's, you know, goes with the active lifestyle. There's so many amazing outdoor things here. Well, guys, thank you so much for watching. We appreciate you following along our journey. If this is your first time here, please hit the subscribe button. There's a whole lot of fun content that we make. It's a mixture of adventure, travel, fun, and then ministry stuff as well. And we really think that you guys are going to enjoy it, and we really love creating it. So,
And we love you guys.
yeah, appreciate you guys so much. It is so enjoyable for us to create this YouTube channel. Like, that's one of the highlights of 2020, I would say, is like making this channel and making videos and then seeing it grow and seeing people comment and engage, and it's just so fun for us. So we really appreciate you guys. If it, you know, hits 1,000 subscribers and it becomes monetized at some point, great. But if not, like, I think we're still going to continue doing it just because we absolutely love doing it for us and the few of you who are watching along. We appreciate you so much. So as always, like the video and leave a comment below. There's some weird YouTube algorithm that we don't understand where YouTube likes when you like the video and they like when you comment below. So we appreciate you, even if it's a silly comment. Thanks for, you know, this video. That would be awesome for us to see that, and hope you guys had an awesome 2020 as well. Let's do this. Leave a comment below saying what your favorite part of 2020 was and then what things you're looking forward to in 2021. And
Other than for a lot of people getting out of 2020.
yeah. And hope you guys are having a blessed day, and we will talk to you soon. You're still here? The video's over. You can leave. But if you have made it this far, appreciate you sticking with it and miss you all. Hope you're having a great one. Talk soon.